live down in Birmingham, and Phyllis brings the fire, she brings the passion, and she brings the love of the Crimson Tide. And Phyllis, welcome to the show. And it's a Friday afternoon, little Billy Joel there to crank us off. We didn't start the fire, but let's get it going. Steve Cochran is left.
Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Glad to do it.
Oh yeah, let's do it. I love that song anyway. That gets me going.
Let me tell you what. When I was in television, Phyllis, as a TV reporter, 89 and 90, WRBL Channel 3 in Columbus, Georgia. Roger Manus and Reese Davis and I worked together, and Reese is now on ESPN Game Day. Reese could sing that song word for word.
I know that.
He's one of the nicest people you will ever meet. An Alabama graduate from Hamilton, Alabama. His dad worked for Sears Roebuck. Remember the old days when you could actually go to the store? He is.
I love him. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's intelligent. He is awesome. I just love Reese.
I do too. He's awesome. And let me ask you something. Scott Cochran left Alabama, and I think a lot of people are going, "Oh, that's it. 13 years he's been in Alabama. They're under right now. They're in what they call the fourth quarter, the fourth quarter program. And I think I texted you earlier today and said I don't think that the Alabama football players are sleeping in. And a buddy of mine I work with that played for Alabama said, "I hear Saban's running it." And everybody was like, "What?" And he goes, "I'm just kidding." But anyway, he's got a plan. And what do you think right now is going on? Kirby's poached a lot of people from Nick Saban, but there's only one Nick Saban.
That's true. And you can look at two sides of this. You can look at that Cochran left because there was better money and he wanted a change, which I can't imagine that. When you're working for the best, you don't leave the best.
Yeah.
And Saban's the best. Or the other side of the coin, I think maybe Saban made Cochran's job a little bit too hard because he wanted perfection. He wanted Cochran to do the job a little bit more than Cochran wanted to do it, and he felt with Kirby Smart, he wouldn't be under such control, and he might be making better money, so therefore he left because he was intimidated by Saban. I look at it on both sides, and I think it could be either one, but me personally, if I was Cochran, I would have never left Saban, never.
Yeah.
Because you just don't leave the best. When you're under the best, you don't leave the best. And look at all that Bama has accomplished while Cochran has been there. Why would he even want to leave the dynasty? Because that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
It is. And Phyllis, I'm gonna throw this at you. He was with Nick Saban at LSU. Scott Cochran's an LSU grad.
Yes.
And
yes.
Kirby Smart, he left Alabama. He was there 8 years. He learned about coaching. He won 4 national championships with Nick Saban and the Alabama football team. And Kirby's trying to take that and move it over to Georgia. But here's some facts. And if we were in a courtroom, and I'm not a lawyer and I don't claim to be, but my closing argument would be this. Scott Cochran, you want to leave Alabama. Well, let me give you a little history lesson, buddy. Since 1980, the last time Georgia won the national championship, if you count up the national championships that have been won by the border states like South Carolina, Clemson, they've won 3, Tennessee's won 1, Auburn and Alabama have won, 10 or 11 in the last 40 years, Florida State, Miami have won 11, Georgia Tech even won 1 in 1990. That's 26 national championships and a few close cigars like Florida, Nebraska, 62-24 beat down in 1995, and I think I was the only person that picked Nebraska to beat Florida. Oh, they got great speed. I said, yeah, but Nebraska can run. The other one is in Auburn, Florida State. They lost. It could have been more. Everybody around Georgia is winning the national championships. Why can't Georgia do it? I don't know. They got a great program. They got great tradition. But why can't they do it, and why can't Alabama do it, a state with half the people?
Exactly. And I take nothing away from Kirby Smart.
I don't either. He's a hell of a coach.
I loved him when he was at Alabama.
Yeah.
I loved what he did for Alabama. And I think Georgia has got a big shot in the arm for him being their coach.
Oh, yeah.
But Cochran, maybe he feels like if he gets with Kirby, it takes two people to be one Saban. It's going to take two phenoms to be one phenom Saban. And maybe the two of them can nearly beat Saban, but they're not going to do it.
Hey, Phyllis.
Exactly.
I mean, he is 12 of the 13 seasons. That's team's coach. What's the takeaway here?
I don't know. It don't make that much sense to me. It's scrambling them around. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. And I mean, we'll never know for sure what made Cochran leave, but it's, like I said, it's one of the two things I mentioned a few moments before. Maybe there was some bad blood. I don't know. Maybe there was some arguments or something. But everyone that comes to play, to coach with Coach Saban, they know from the get-go. He makes no bones about it. This is the kind of coach I am, and this is what you got to do. This is what I expect of you, and no less. They know that. So they come there, and then they just, I don't know, after several years or a few years, they up and leave for something they think where the grass is greener.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The grass is not greener in Georgia.
Well, it's also got to be cut.
It's not greener in Alabama.
No, it's not. I mean, Phyllis, let's go back here real quick. Then I got another thing I want to ask you about. From 1997 to 2007, that 11-year span, hey, Alabama struggled. They had 8 seasons where they lost 5 games or more. It's all about getting the right people. Just because they put on the Alabama jersey or the Auburn jersey or LSU or Georgia, that doesn't mean anything. It's what's behind it. And
That's
Nick
right.
Saban brought that culture back. Gene Stallings did it. But, tell me this. You've had, you knew Gene Stallings, and he's still alive. And talk about Gene Stallings. Talk about Nick Saban. And I know Nick Saban sent you a hat. Tell that story, because I think a lot of people, they don't understand him. From what I understand, he's at Mass almost every morning at 6 o'clock, receives the Eucharist, and the Saban Catholic Center on campus. I've got a lot of friends that go there. And they said
he's a wonderful
he's
person.
a neat guy.
I tell you what, I was going through chemo and from breast cancer, and I had lost my hair. And we had just won the national championship. And I wrote Coach Saban, and I just put in the letter, I said, when I go to chemo, I wear these old knit toboggans and things like that, but I would be so proud to be able to wear a national championship hat on my head and you to sign it, sir.
Wow.
And that's all I did. I just asked him, I said, if you have an extra one around there, I'll pay you for it or whatever, but I would be so proud. Less than a week, it came in the mail. It came in the mail, and he signed it on the bill, and it was white, and it was beautiful, and I wore that to chemo, and I was so proud of it. All the doctors was running up and down the hall. They said, wait a minute, you mean you're Phyllis from Mulda? They never knew who I was. They never knew until I put that hat on, and I said, yeah, I am.
Well, that's an incredible story, but I think people just don't understand about these coaches is they're people, and these kids that play for them, a lot of them, that's the father figure they look to, and sometimes the first time in their lives. And Nick Saban's tough. He's hard as a rock. But you know one thing, whether it's Nick Saban or any of these coaches, these guys become part of their family, don't they?
That's right. That's right. And I tell you something else. Coach Stallings, he took hold of my son when he was just a preteen, and he gave my son a hero, and he wrote my son letters. I've got 70-something letters that he personally signed. His secretary, Linda Knows, told me he personally signed every letter he wrote to Chris, because Chris was being made fun of at school and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And Coach Stallings would send him posters. I've got them hanging on the wall, and got them hanging all over the wall. Where he's just like I'm looking at one right now of him and Chris in his office. The picture we took, blown up to a poster, and on the front it says, "To my friend Christopher, Gene Stallings."
Wow.
He took that to school with him because all the kids at school was making fun of him, jerking him around on the bus by his hair and everything else, making fun of him, telling him he was a liar.
Yeah.
Coach Gene Stallings wouldn't have anything to do with him. His teachers even stood there and let it happen. We took him to school, and I said, "You take that poster in there, and I want you to open it up." And I said, "You show every one of them." And, of course, it said on it, "To my friend Christopher, Gene Stallings."
God.
And Coach told him to do it, too, because I told Coach what was going on. He said, "Christopher, you take that. That's me and you. They can't deny it, and you show it to them." He did. You know, that bullying stopped. They wanted to be his friend then because he was a friend of Gene Stallings.
Well, that's, and I tell you, Gene Stallings, 1986, my grandmother sent me a cassette tape. He had spoken at her church up in Centerville, Tennessee, and I lost it. I can't find, of course, I don't even have a cassette player in my truck anymore, but he is very close with Coach Dye, and they go out and raise a lot of money for a lot of great causes. In fact, the same lady that manages Coach Dye manages Coach Stallings, and she said the two of them together, it's priceless. It's incredible. Fellas, one last thing before we have to take a commercial break.
Sure.
September 5th, Steve Sarkisian, he's the offensive coordinator at Alabama. Southern Cal, Alabama play at AT&T Stadium out in Arlington, Texas.
Yes.
Are you fired up about that one? Because
yes,
boy,
I am. 40, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat Southern Cal just like we did in 1971. You remember that game?
17-10.
I remember that game, but
I remember it.
I blew all the speakers out. I had this great big piece of furniture, and it wasn't nothing but a stereo, and I had it full blast. I blew all the speakers out during that game. Me and my 5 brothers and my friends, we were all around. I'm telling you what, we flipped over the chairs, everything. That house was tore slap up. We hollered and hooted. Nobody called the law on us because everybody was coming out of the house, jumping around with us. I mean, it was the most fun I ever had in my life. The night we beat Southern Cal, 1971, I'll never forget it.
Phyllis, hey man, one last thing. That's when Coach Bryant unveiled the wishbone. Nobody knew about it, and they won in the Coliseum. I was 8 years old. I can remember that quite. Hey, Phyllis, listen, we're going to take a commercial break. Thanks so much. Keep listening. Tell your friends about Sidelines, and we look forward to having you back on any and every time as we keep growing. Thanks so much.
I will. I've had a ball. God bless you, and thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Glad to do it. Bye-bye. All righty. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with Wes Moore from 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock, talking little Razorback everything. This is Sidelines.
Hey listeners, it's Chris Murphy with Inman Murphy Termite and Pest Control. It's been a mild winter, so the bugs are going to be bad, and you know we're here to take care of you and your home. Give us a call today at 388-0852. That's 388-0852, and we can handle all the termites, ants, mosquitoes, and everything in between. It's going to be bad. You need to be prepared. Don't let the bugs ruin your summer. Give us a call today at 388-0852. That's 388-0852, or check us out on the web at inman-murphy.com and take charge of your home.
You know what my man cave needs?
What's that, Rob?
A giant screen TV with surround sound.
You should go to gaddishome.com.
That's right. They can do all of this without costing us a fortune. They can also put in the security cameras and outdoor lighting you've been wanting forever.
What are you waiting for?
Hey, check them out at gaddishome.com or on our website, sidelines.live. That's Gaddis Home Innovation. Family owned and in business since 1972, Matei's Garage is best known for providing quality automotive repair at a fair and reasonable price. We can accommodate most makes and models, including European and Asian vehicles, as well as all American makes. Our services include everything from basic maintenance, such as oil service and tires, to major engine and transmission service. Located at 4930 Black Road in East Memphis, near Clark Tower, Matei's Garage is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. And I've known Larry Cervetti, a 1982 Christian Brothers High School graduate and 1986 graduate of the University of Tennessee, for 42 years. It's hard to find someone better than Larry. He's as good as it gets. Check him out on our website, mateisgarage.com. All right, Rob Brown back here with you, Sidelines. Friday afternoon, man, I tell you what, Shane, we're still about, a little over 6 months away from the start of football season, but Phyllis has got me fired up. You ready to get dressed out and run through the tunnel? Good grief. I love it.
Leave Smokey along the way.
Smokey is royalty, absolutely. All right, let's go to Westmore over in Little Rock, 103.7 The Buzz. In Little Rock, in the heart of the natural state, talking about the Razorbacks. And Wes, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing great. Basketball season, it's the stretch run right now. Baseball's kicking off, and I know last week you were up in Fayetteville at Baum Stadium and talking about, hey, they're expanding the place, it's getting bigger. But I want to talk real quick. I want you to tell us, Sam Pittman brings in another one from Georgia, Scott Fountain, who was at Auburn for a while, great recruiter, special teams coach at Georgia. He's up in the corner, up what they call the High South, Fayetteville. He just continues to be bringing in some guys, like I said they should do, from the Deep South with Georgia connections. That's going to be nothing but good for recruiting. What do you think?
I got to spend some time with Coach Fountain down at Oaklawn in Hot Springs at the coaches convention not too long ago. And man, he is so excited about coming to Fayetteville. And he said that Sam Pittman may have been the easiest hire for him when he hired Fountain. He walked across the street to his house. I guess they live across the street from each other in Athens. And so he walked across the street, told him he wanted to come to Fayetteville, and his wife said we better go. So he's very excited to be up in Arkansas as a special teams coordinator. And I think fans here are excited just for the fact that they haven't had a special teams coordinator in a long, long time. The last couple of coaches, they've divided up the special teams to different assistant coaches. So there wasn't just one coach that was in charge of special teams. And to be honest with you, Arkansas special teams has been very mediocre. There's been nothing special about them for a while. You have to go back to the Joe Adams day as a punt returner before, remembering anything that was anything special at all. To be aggressive, whether it's on kickoff return or kickoff coverage, punt return. They're going to go after the punter. This is something that he wants to bring some excitement from Warren, Arkansas, and he was their punt returner last year as a true freshman, and he was also probably their best wide receiver, and you just got a small taste of what Traylon Burks can do. And if you watch these Arkansas games, you'll remember and you'll know what I'm talking about. As a punt returner, he doesn't cradle the ball when he catches it. A lot of guys will catch it and kind of cradle it and then take off. He catches it with his hands. And it doesn't matter if the ball is up by his helmet. He catches it. His hands are huge. They have to special order his gloves because his hands are so big. And they're so enormous that he can just catch the punt with his hands and takes off running. It's the craziest thing. The first couple times we saw it, we're like, we thought he was like out of balance, off balance, couldn't cradle it, and he was just doing whatever he could to catch it. That's the way he does it. He didn't drop one punt all year. He's just so secure in catching the ball, and he takes off and run it. He did a good job this year. He never broke one to the house, but he had several that was 15, 20, 25 yards, and you're just like, oh, he's just one missed tackle away from taking it to the house. He will, if I can make a guarantee, he's going to take one back to the house this year.
Well, special teams are 25 to 30% of every football game. And you mentioned Arkansas fans are excited. You've now got a full-time special teams coach in Scott Fountain. Look at his resume. Look where he's been. Look at the success he's had. But I'm going to tell you something. I've watched him for a while. He's a really good recruiter. And everybody that Sam Pittman's bringing up there is a really good recruiter. And I think people are sleeping on Arkansas if they're not watching what is happening with Sam Pittman. He knows where to find players, and he knows where to get the coaches to go recruit those players that will sign with Arkansas. That's what I think's going on.
I'll tell you this, on signing day, Coach Pittman made even more fans when he said, the reporters were kind of, glowing for him, bragging a little bit. Hey, you came in late notice, and you still finished 29th in the country.
Yeah.
And Coach Pittman said that's not good enough. We're not 20. We need to be up there with the best, because I believe Arkansas is the best. And when people come to Fayetteville and see our campus and our facilities, they'll realize, yes, we're the best. We're in the best in the SEC, and we need to be up there with everybody else in the SEC in the top 10, recruiting-wise. And fans just ate that up.
Yeah.
And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, Chad Morris's last recruiting class, the freshman this year, it was a great recruiting class for Arkansas, and he was setting it up for a run later on. He played a lot of these freshmen, and some of them just played 4 games and they redshirted, but they got experience. It's a very young team that's going to be a year older, and Coach Pittman actually walks into a pretty good situation. When you look at the record, you go, oh, they're terrible. 2-10, 2-10. This is a bad team. It was a bad team that was young. They're going to be a year older, and I think Pittman's now said has a foundation to at least build on.
Right. Gus Malzahn took over an Auburn team. 2012, they were 3-9, worst football season in 62 years. I know that because my dad was there in 1950 when Auburn lost to Wofford. They immediately fired the coach and replaced him with Shug Jordan in 1951. Sam Pittman is a kind of a combination. He's got a funny sense of humor. I'd say he's a combination between Jonathan Winters and John Wayne. He's a big guy. He's funny, but he's serious. And when he talks to these kids, he is very effective. I've talked to people that have been in coaching and gone up against him. They said he's very hard to beat. And when he goes after someone, he brings the full court press. We mentioned last week, 34 staff members every morning write thank you notes. The benefits of that, the return on investment for that, I think are going to be huge, because recruiting is all about relationships, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and he's got such an infectious personality. Yeah. And all you have to see is the coaches who wanted to coach for him. We did a lot of speculating about guys that we had heard who would be interested in the job. We had heard the OC could be, he used to be at Georgia, then he went to Colorado, and I guess he's now going to Michigan State. That was it Jay Johnson? There was a lot of speculation that could be the OC. And the defensive coordinator, there was talk of a Georgia defensive line coach from Arkansas that maybe is DC. Well, I think maybe that was the plan early on, but then Coach Pittman, once he got the job, started getting all these calls and text messages from coaches out there that wanted to come to Fayetteville and coach for him, and he was really kind of blown away with the response, and he ends up with Barry Odom and Kendall Brooks, as his OC in D.C., and I don't think that was the plan early on when he was hired, but once he got these calls and text messages and realized, wow, we got a lot of people who want to come to Fayetteville. He kind of changed his plan, but I think that just shows you the kind of relationships that he's built over the years.
Well, he has in recruiting. It starts. A lot of these kids get offered in 8th or 9th grade. The 7-on-7 camps that started out in Texas have made recruiting so much more of a high-profile activity, but it does never stop. But Sam Pittman, he's going to have some talent. Chad Morris recruited last year. The class before this one, 11 4-stars, but he had 4 wide receivers, 6'3" or taller. I think that's going to be huge. Just depends on what kind of offense they'll run. But with Kendall Browse there, I think it's going to be something fast-paced.
Oh, no doubt. The receivers are, let me just say this. From the folks inside the program I've spoken with. The receivers are very happy, and it helped. They kept their wide receiver coach. That was the one holdover on this staff, Coach Justin Stepp. The players loved him, and they discussed it a lot. There was a push to keep him, and Coach Pittman told us a couple weeks ago that he wasn't committed to keeping Coach Stepp, but Coach Stepp went out on the road recruiting with him, and he saw right away how the connection he had with the recruits, and it meant something to Coach Stepp to be a Razorback assistant coach. And he said he made him call his wife, and Coach Pittman talked to his wife on the phone, and then he offered the job to Coach Stepp, and it meant so much that he had earned that job. Coach Stepp told us he started crying. He was so happy that he got to stay in Fayetteville and coach for Coach Pittman that he got emotional, and his wife got very emotional because she wanted to stay in Fayetteville also. So you can see the relationship and how that would work with the wide receivers, his passion for coaching at Arkansas, and he's got a great group.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Wes, thank you so much for joining us. We've got to take a quick commercial break, but I'm going to tell you, every time you cross over that Mississippi River Bridge in Memphis, you are in the state of Arkansas, and the Razorback fans, they've been through hell the last few years, but you go back and look, they've been successful before. You've got a guy from the Deep South who was at Georgia, he's been at Arkansas before, who loves it. He's not there just to punch in a time card or pick